Today, just before we get started, I just want to share a couple of things with you. First thing I want to share with you is just a reminder that with Celebration, with our mini catalogue will run for a few months, but our Celebration catalogue is only running for 2 months, so it's only going from January to February. Now, with our Celebration, just a reminder that every $90 you spend in either the mini catalogue or our annual catalogue, you can get a product from this catalogue for free. Now, today I want to draw your attention to the back page where it says Join Stamping Up. Now, this is really fantastic. If you like to do lots of crafting and you like to get a little bit of a discount, 20% discount as a starting point, then why not join? For $235, well, for $169, you'll get $235 worth of product of your choice that you can choose. And along with that, Stamping Up have given, will give you 5 packs. That does say in this it's 6 packs, but that is a typo error. So it's actually 5 packs of designer series paper, 6x6 designer series paper, that will be coming out in the new annual catalogue later on in the year. So you'll get these to try first. So you'll get 6 packs, and that's a value of $100. So even to start off with, that's a great savings just there. So if you're interested in looking at joining me in Stamping Up, just contact me and we can have a chat via Facebook, or leave me your phone number and I will ring you. Now, this is for Australia only, okay? So you do need to be here in Australia for me to be able to contact you. Otherwise, there are demonstrators in other countries around the world who I'm sure I can put you in touch with if you're not from Australia. So let me just get rid of those for the moment. And this catalogue, I'm just throwing all this onto the floor, going to have a bit of clean up. Now, the next thing I want to share with you, I posted this on my Facebook page and my blog just this week, the Dandy Garden Mega Tutorial Bundle. Now, I was very lucky to take part with 62 other demonstrators from around the world, and we made up tutorials using the Dandy Gardens Bundle. Now, this is in your mini catalogue on pages 24, 25, and it goes over to 26, 27. Lots of fantastic products there. So all those products there is $253 worth. So if you're thinking of joining Stamping Up, here's a great way to start. $253 worth of product there. So we could work it out for you to work in with the join up fee. So if you want to join up under me, then you can, I will give you this bundle of tutorials for free. Okay, so there you go. Join up and Stamping Up with me during this celebration, so that's for the next 2 months, and I will give you the Dandy Garden Mega Tutorial Bundle for free. Otherwise, this bundle costs $35, and there's 62 tutorials in that, and it features products from this complete suite. So what are we doing today? Well, let me just flip this over again, and we're going to be looking today at the Well Suited Suite. Now, I must admit, I've only just got this the other day, so I haven't even played with it as yet. Today is my first time playing with it with you. So I just wanted to show you, to start off with, some of these products. Now, we'll make admit to something here. The combo pack of twine, I can't find it. It's in my room here somewhere. I've just done a little bit of a cleanup. It's somewhere safe, and as all places safe, I can't find it right now. But I do have the designer series paper, and this is it here. So I've just cut these into 10 by 14.4 centimeter pieces, and I just wanted to show you all these lovely designer designer series paper that comes in this suite. Now, you can purchase all these items individually, but if you purchase the whole suite, which is $115, you'll get the designer series paper, which is a pack of 12 by 12. There's 2 sheets of each one of these designs. Now that's one side, and if I flip that over, there's your other side there. And there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep, 6 designs. So they're fantastic. And also with this, you get the stamp set in the suite, and it also comes with coordinating dies. Now I have removed some of the dies from this pack here, but as you can see, I've just got them all piled up here. There's quite a few here in here, and I have got lots of ideas. As I said, this is just the first time I've played with it. Don't want to lose those little pieces, but it's even got these tiny weeny little buttons. Can you see those? Have I got that in line? Yep, these gorgeous little buttons that you can die cut and put onto things. So I've got a great idea for that. But what I thought I'd do today is going to make a card for someone very special in my life, and that's my father. And we're going to use this product range. So let me just pop those out of the road. Whoops, sorry. And we'll pop that out of the road, and let's get started. Now I will post this up on my Facebook page and on my blog, so you can see it. If you want to go to my blog to find out anything more about me or get in touch with me, it's at Butterflies and Bows. I'll just hold this up so you can see it. It's butterfliesandbows.com. Now it's not butterfly flies as in IES, it's butterflies as BUTTERFLYS and bows. Okay, so that's how you can contact me through there. So I'm just going to pop that to one side for the moment, and we're going to bring in the products that we're going to be using today. So to start off with, for this card, and what I thought we would do is a 3-fold card. So we need a piece of Whisper White cardstock, or what it's the Whisper White has been discontinued. I hope you've seen that on my Facebook page and blog, and we'll be getting, I think it's available as of now actually, it's called Basic White. So we've had to go to a new supplier because our original suppliers can't supply us the Whisper White anymore, so we'll be carrying one that's going to be called Basic White. So you need some white cardstock at 14.9 by 21 centimeters, and I've scored that at 10.5. Now I will post all these measurements and everything on my blog, and I'm going to fold that in half. And last week I couldn't find my bone folder, but I do have it here with me, and we're going to just give that a nice crisp fold. So there's our card base. And then I have a card front. Now, this piece here measures 12 centimeters across, 14.9 centimeters down, but I've scored it on this side at 1.5 centimeters in. So let me just pull out my trimmer. So as I said, it's 14.9 centimeters deep and 12 centimeters across, and then I'm going to take this to 1.5 centimeters. So I'm measuring 1.5 centimeters onto the right side of my trimmer, and with taking my cutting blade right out of the road, I'm going to use my scoring blade and score it at 1.5 centimeters. Let's pop that out. Then what I'm going to do is fold this back on itself, and again, just using my bone folder, just give that a nice crisp fold. So bringing in my card base again. Now, as I said, I want to make a tri-fold card, but we're going to turn it back to front. So normally your card would open that way. What we're going to do is we're going to turn this around so it opens that way. And actually, before we join those two together, there's one more step we need to do. So let me just pop that to one side, and let me get some designer series paper. So my designer series paper here is 10.5 centimeters by 14.9. So I've chosen the one with just the little pinstripe on it, because I just thought that was more suited to my dad. And what we're going to do is we're going to adhere that directly to our card front. So I'm making a tri-fold card. So what I'm going to do is, I said, I'm going to have this opening the opposite direction we normally do, and this piece here is going to join onto there. So it's going to fold like that. But before we do that, we just need to adhere that to there and then do a little bit of die cutting. So to adhere that, I'm actually going to use my multi-purpose glue, and I'm going to give a good coverage of glue on this, particularly up around the top and maybe just down through the center. And I'll show you the reason why for that in a moment. And I'm going to pop those on there. Now that'll go edge to edge on one side, leaving that 1.5 centimeter piece on the other. So just make sure that that is all lined up, and just rub that to make sure that's all there. Now I'm just going to grab a pencil. Let me just find one here. I'll have to use one of my tulip pencils, and I want to, so that's 10.5 centimeters across, and I just want to put a little mark on the top part. So I'm just turning it down so I've got my little tab there on the other side, and I just want to put a mark in here around about 5.25. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.25. So that's just to give me an idea of where the center is, because in the dies what we've got is this piece here that's going to form our V. So this is going to be in the middle. So what I want to do is line that up across the top. Now I am going to need, and I wonder where I have put it. There it is, hiding. I'm going to need some tape because I want to make sure that I've got this all lined up and nice and straight. So I'm just using the grid lines on my paper to line my card up, and I want to make sure that I've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's 2 centimeters coming in from that edge, and 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to move it across a little bit. So that is around about half, just there. Okay, so I'm just going to use my tape here just to pop that down to make sure that this doesn't move in between. Probably if I had thought about it, I probably could have made my stripes a little bit even. They are a little bit off kilter, but that's okay. I'm sure we won't notice that. I'm just going to pop that little bit there. That side should be right. So we're going to bring in our cut and emboss machine. Pop that in there because I want to cut that V out. Okay. So I've just got my machine here off to the one side, and I'm just going to leave it there because it's actually a little bit too big to go underneath my camera today. And let's just run that through and see how we go. Gently peel off my tape. Now this tape I got from Officeworks. It's just like your it's actually post-it note tape, but it's sticky. The whole, you just peel it off like on a like sticky tape, which is really good, and you can reuse it. So just pop it over there, and that should have cut out. Now I've just missed a little bit there, so let's just find a pair of scissors. No, craft knife will do me, and I'm just going to finish that cut. So that's probably something to remember, is I probably had that situated a little bit too high at the top. So make sure that that point, and if you look at the back of it, your die cuts actually finish probably about 2 or 3 mil. Don't know whether you can see that, from the top, so it doesn't cut right to the very top. So next time if I did it, I'd have to overlap it a little bit like that. Then this could play a little bit of a problem when I make the collar part, but we'll see. We might be able to adjust it. I am a seamstress, remember, so let's see what we can do. So there's our front panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually now going to go back to our card base. Let me just get that out of the road. So remember, we've got this going the opposite direction, and we're going to join those two together. Now the reason why I wanted to put those two together to start with is so I can cut them together and I know that they're both right in the same place. As I said, I haven't pre-planned this. I haven't made another card like it. I'm just doing all this at the moment just on the top of my head. Now you could use either Seal Plus or use your multi-purpose glue for gluing these together. And hopefully, because I am doing this out of the top of my head, we don't make any mistakes, or we just might have to sort of work around a few things, and things might change as we work along. So we're just going to glue those two together, just hold them together for a couple of seconds just to let that glue dry. Now I have got a little bit of glue oozing out there, and here's a little tip for you. If you have a bit of glue that comes out, now you do need to test this on a scrap piece of paper, especially your designer series paper. I have known it to take the black out of basic black before, but I'm just going to get rid of a lot of that glue. Once that glue has dried, what you can do is, if you've got a cheap white rubber, now this is the white, I don't know what it's made out of, but it's just a cheap white rubber. It's not an abrasive rubber, it's a very, very soft rubber. Make sure your rubber is quite clean, or your eraser. So I'm making sure I've got that quite clean, and then I can just go over that spot where the glue oozed out a little bit, just going in a circular motion, and that will actually ball that rubber up. So it'll just take away, there we go, that excess glue that we don't want. So you may have to come back and do it a few times, but just a really good, cheap, quick way of removing that excess glue that you don't want. So there's a tip for you for today. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just see if that little mark comes off. No, we might have to cover that up with something. So we're going to fold that way and fold that back on itself. So once we've done that, we may just have to, as I said, this is not necessarily, I'm going to actually trim this card down. Whoops, it's fairly windy here today. Something just fell down, but I do have to clean this room up. So I'm just going to bring in my trimmer, and I'm just going to trim a couple of millimeters off this card. Just a little bit, because being a three-fold card, if you fold it in, it's doesn't necessarily fold in even on itself. So we're going to just move that across a little bit, and I'm going to run my bone folder down there. Okay. Probably could have taken off a fraction more. I don't know whether you can see that, but there still is a little bit of a white stripe there. So that's just a good little lesson to learn. That maybe when you cut this your whisper white piece or basic white piece of cardstock, just make it a few millimeters narrower. Probably around about 3 to 4 millimeters. Probably not quite 5 millimeters. It's maybe a little bit too much. But just make it a little bit narrower, so when that folds back on itself, that you're not going to have a huge amount of white sticking out. So there's the start of our jacket. So now what we need to do is maybe make a collar for it. So I'm going to use this die here, and we're going to make a collar. Now this will cut out all the way right to the top, so I'm hoping by the time we pop that on there, we just might be able to bring it up a little bit and hide the fact that I'm too long this way. So I've got a scrap of the designer series paper here, and out of this piece I'm going to cut my collar, and we might cut our pocket, and that might be about it for that one. Okay, so let's just bring in this piece here. Whoops, we need to put that underneath. So remember, you need number 3 on top of number 2. And our pocket. Grab our second plate, number 3. Now we do want to make sure this is all lined up. As every good dressmaker knows, we want to have this looking fairly square, so we could even actually line it up to marry. Let's just move that. So if we marry up these stripes like that, and we want to have that piece there, so really we're going to line up stripe to stripe. It should be fairly right. I'm just going to pop these pieces down again just to hold that into place. Another one up here. Need to cut out a pocket, so let's see if we can fit the pocket inside there. Again, we just want to keep everything nice and straight, so I'm going to line it up with my stripe. Pop that down, and let's run that through. Whoop, that moved. Might just put another piece of tape on there. Now I will post this in the next few days on my YouTube channel. Oops, sorry, I've just missed everybody, lost you all. Okay. Hi Michelle, how are you? Okay, so let's just run this through the cut and emboss. And just remove all these pieces here. So there's our pocket, and there's our collar. So we've got our pocket and our collar. I'll put those dies over there so I don't lose them. And let's see how this collar is going to fit. Oh, it just might. I don't think it's going to really matter if it comes down a little bit. You can always just actually, what we might do is we might cheat a little bit and trim our card. That might make that a little bit better. So I'll just bring my trimmer in, and I'm just going to trim this card probably by about 2 mil. So we'll just line her up there. Let's just have a look and see how that went. So we've got that a little bit more. don't think I like the sound of that one. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. Just get all those little pieces out. And I might just bring in that trimmer again, just because a little bit at the end there got a little bit chewed. Just going to tidy those ends up just a little bit. Lovely. No one will ever know, except for you and me, that I did that. Okay, so let's glue on our collar. So again, just using your multi-purpose glue. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue, not putting down too much. Just down the length of that inside V. Make sure I've got a little bit there at the tip. And we're going to line that up. Now just remember, I've got a little bit of glue there. I can remove that once that is dried a little bit, so I'm not going to be worrying too much about that. Then we have our pocket, and we're going to put our pocket probably around about there. I'm matching up my stripes. The pocket has got beautiful stitching lines on it, so hopefully that will stand out. Actually, before I glue that in, what we think we might do, so I'm not going to glue that because I've just had an idea. We might put something in that pocket so that, like a handkerchief, so it just stands out. So what I'm going to do next is actually the tie. So what I've done here, this is the paper I've decided to use for my tie, but it's a stripe, but I don't want the stripe. So here's our die for our tie. So what I've done is I've actually cut this piece at an angle, and I'm going to die cut that like that, because I want that design to be at an angle, not straight up and down, because if I go straight up and down, just show you on this piece, I sort of either going to lose a lot of the pattern or just have it down the center, or you could have two pieces like that, but you're not going to actually see much of the pattern. And most ties, when you actually make a tie, is actually cut on the cross, cut on the diagonal, so the design is actually diagonalized in your fabric. So why not do the same with our paper? So I've cut it at an angle, and I'm going to get more of that paper there. Now I'm also going to again just use my post-it note tape to stick that down, because I also want to cut the top of the tie. And that's just a little piece there. And now this is a piece for your collar, but what I'm hoping that we might be able to do is use at least even a portion of that to give us a hanky type thing. So let's see how we go. So that's how I've laid it out onto there. So let's bring all of these pieces out again. So I've got that all laid out. Now you could do all this individually and use that cute little mini cut and emboss machine we have, but I'm actually going to continue just to use this one for now, because these will fit. The only piece that wouldn't fit into your mini is the collar and that V, but all these little pieces are handy just doing through your mini. So there's our collar. Put that piece up there. Our top portion of our collar, or our not our collar, our tie, and then this is the little bit that would normally be your collar. So let me just get rid of that. And all I want is this piece here. So I'm just going to tear, I've only cut just one side of it. I'm just going to tear that piece off, because what I want to do, and yes, I don't have my little scissors with me, remember. So I'm just going to use my craft knife here again. So all I want to do is cut that in half. I'm hoping I've got the right shape. So what I've just done is cut that in half like that, and I'm just going to see whether we can layer this somehow. Under here. Yeah, that might work. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue just along there. Don't need much. And I'm going to pop one piece there. The other piece there. I'm wondering whether we're going to get a storm today. It's getting quite windy here. Okay, let those dry. Probably could move those down a little bit. A little bit that it's looking like it's crossing over. I don't know whether you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just sort of playing with these little pieces of paper until I've got something that looks like maybe a folded up hanky. It doesn't have to be perfect. I know years and years ago they used to actually sell pieces that was like a hanky stitched onto a piece of, or top part of a hanky stitched onto a piece of cardboard, and it was like a fake hanky and you slipped it into your pocket. I'm probably going back more years than you can remember to remember that one. Pop some glue on the back there. Hi Leanne, how are you? Thank you for joining me today. So this is where we've decided that our pocket is going to go, and as I said, I'm just lining up those stripes. I wouldn't be a good sewer if I didn't line up my stripes, and we're going to pop them right there. So there's the front. Now if you wanted to, you probably could have cut two collars and just had one collar sitting out. I haven't glued down all these ends, so if you wanted to sort of shape these a little bit, so you could have them turned up just a little bit there. So I'm just using my bone folder just to sort of give it a bit of a curve, a bit of shaping, just so it doesn't look so flat. I'll probably put a little bit more glue on that side, didn't I? Let's see how we go here. So just sort of using that bone folder just to sort of help curl it. That looks a little bit better. That's got a little bit more dimension now. Now, I think we need some buttons on here. So I'm going to get my piece of basic grey, which is what we've done our inside of our card with. And we're going to use these cute little buttons. And we're just going to cut out a few buttons. Don't need many, so there's 6 buttons in this little die here, and I think they'll all come out individually. So I'll just pop that onto there. Whoop. You bring this over and show you. So there's our die. Still got one little button in my cardstock, but look at this, how cute are they? Let me just take them all off. They are so cute, so little. They've even got all the little holes and everything where your stitching would go. Very cute. Okay, let's pop those onto our card. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift these up a little bit too. I'm not worrying about this because this card's not actually going to go in the mail. Where my parents live in Mudgee and my husband's taking some time off work. I'm just going to take that little bit of glue off there now since it's dry. Just remember making sure my eraser has got a nice clean spot and just working in a circle. Now you do have to be very careful because you can take a little bit of the colour out of your design series paper. So anyway, yes, so we're heading down to Mudgee in February. And I'm going to take this with me when I go down to see my dad and my mum. I don't think I've made my father a card for many years, so he's probably going to be a little bit shocked. Now I'm going to use my take a pick tool here to help put these buttons on. So I'm just sort of screwing a little bit of that putty out, and I'm just going to flatten the end of the putty so I know it's going to pick up. And I'm going to pick up my button there and just pop a little bit of glue. Now you don't need much. It's really just a dab. Get rid of that. You can actually see where I've rubbed that and I've taken a bit of the colour out. That's what I mean. You really should just test it a little bit. And I'm going to pop a button about there. Let's grab another button. Oh, I keep getting this post-it note stuff all over me. Let's put another bit of glue on that one. And we'll go, whoops, there. You can probably fit, ideally that's probably too many buttons, two buttons are too close, but that's okay. This is in a bit of a make-believe world, isn't it, with just making it as a card. It doesn't have to be correct for dressmaking purposes. So we've got 3 buttons on there. Okay. So how's that looking? So now we're going to open up. So that's the front of our card. We're going to open it up, and now we've got to do something to the inside of our card. Let's get rid of that smudge. Can't be me without doing a few things, you know, fingerprints or whatever to my cards. So for the inside of this card, what we're going to do is we've got this piece here, which is a stitched piece, and I'm going to cut a piece of Whisper White cardstock to go into there. So I've got a piece of Whisper White here. So this is our shirt. So we're going to need, I'm going to cut that at a diagonal, and we're going to need our collar. So let's just get rid of these pieces. We've used all of them. So all we need now, let's move our buttons out of the road. And let's cut out our front of our shirt front. Not quite sure whether we're going to need that shirt front piece at the minute because the tie is actually going to go over the top of it. But let's have a look and see how we go. So we've cut our shirt front and it's got stitching all down. You could also use that for braces if you wanted to put on a pair of braces onto the card. We need our tie. So we're going to need this. We want that in the middle. It's probably going to have to be cut down a bit. Just have a bit of glue on my fingers. Normally that would go in about there. And then we have our shirt. So that would normally go up there a little bit, and that would go on top. And then our tie, which always sits inside our jacket. Yep, I think we do need that piece. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of glue, again, just along the top of that collar. Take that out of the road, close our card up. So I've only got glue along the top of our collar because I want to take that right to the top of our shirt. So now we can see that's just coming up a little bit where that's going to go. I'm going to pop a little bit of glue and make sure I've got the right side. That's my wrong side. You can tell the right and wrong side. The right side is smooth because it's got the stitching line. And I'm not going to take the glue all the way down to the bottom because I do have to cut a bit of length off. And we want to make sure that that's nice and straight. And I'm slipping that up underneath the tie. So it's all looking like it's coming underneath the tie. Let me grab my craft knife again. Just going to pop this underneath it. Cut off our excess length. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue just underneath, just to hold that down. Now I probably am going to have to get my scissors a bit later on and just trim that up a little bit. It's not too bad. Now you could cut out some more buttons if you want to cut out some more buttons. We could place buttons all down there. Let's have a look where our tie is going to sit. So our tie is going to sit, I think we might just put a few buttons on that. So again, I'm going to get my buttons and cut out some buttons. This is what happens when you're not quite sure what you're doing until you start making and you decide, yes, that's going to work, no, that's going to not work. Let's get those buttons off there. But it's just a matter of working out what's going to look good, what's going to not look good, and just go with the flow. Okay, so pick up another button. Now I really only need to put buttons at the bottom, I think. So I'm going to pop a button about there. Ooh, yeah, I think so. That's just thinking it's very, very white on white, but you wouldn't put a coloured button on there unless you're wearing an evening or dinner suit, penguin suit. So it normally would be a white button on a white shirt. A bit of glue on that one, maybe a bit more. These take a pick tools are really handy for this sort of thing. And I'm going to space that one a little bit more. And I might just put one more. Space that one about there. I think 3 buttons. I mean, normally you'd put buttons all the way up, but Once that sits in there, let's have a look, see how we're going. That's going to come down like that. Oh, very swish. So I'm going to pop a little bit of glue on there. I am going to put a little bit of glue going down there, but I'm not taking it all the way down. Pop that on there. And I'm just going to use my bone folder, just curve this a little bit. Just around the edges, just to give them, again, a bit of dimension. And I'm going to use a dimensional. How am I going to use a big one? No, I think we might use a mini one. So let's pop the mini dimensional there on the back. Take that backing off. So how's everyone going? Is everyone having a good week? And we're going to slip that again up, whoops, underneath that. Might need a little bit of help here. So I'm just putting what I'm just doing here is just putting, I take a pick tool and I'm using the pointy end and just putting it into that dimensional. Just acts as a little bit of a third hand. Because what I want to do is lift that collar up, place that down. Again, what you could do is you could take your bone folder and just give the collar a little bit of a curve. Whoops, don't do what I've just done, just unstick that. So I've just broken that tip there, so I'm going to just pop a little bit of glue right on the end there and glue that down. I must have something on my hands. A little bit of glue just there, just to hold that. Let's get that eraser again. Just remove that in there. Okay, so let's have a look. Probably should have curved those before we started putting it down. They're annoying me, get rid of them. I'm just trying to hold that down. Now I just want to get a little bit of glue underneath this collar here. The easiest way to do that is I'm just going to get myself a little piece of paper. Just got a little bit of Whisper White here. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the end of it and just treat this like a little bit of a brush. Push down with my fingernail just until that dries. Same again on that side. All I want to do is just, whoops, slip that in underneath, pull it out, just hold that down. What do I do with that? Just so then okay, so it's starting to look how I imagined. I do want to do a little bit of stamping on here. Okay, so I'm going to use my basic grey. Now, excuse me, I do have to lean across to grab it. And since this is a birthday card, I do want to pop, let's get rid of that glue. Oh, I'm a messy crafter. I've got bits and pieces all over the place. Don't lose those little buttons. Pop them into a little plastic bag. And pop them in with your stamps. And the next time you go to make a card, you've already got some buttons. So what I want to do is maybe put a happy birthday somewhere down in this corner. So that's it. I've got a happy birthday to you, which comes with the stamp set. Just might need to ink that up a little bit more. Okay. Button caught on my finger. Just line this up. And stamp. Hold it down for a couple of seconds. Just let that ink adhere to your cardstock. Voila! Beautiful. Now I'm going to leave that there because I do have a second stamp that I wanted to use. And this one says, to one of the world's greatest dads. Something I don't often tell my dad, and I think he's one of the greatest dads, so I think he deserves to have that on his card. So I'm going to open that up, and that I'm going to pop. Got another mark. Stamp it off just to make sure it's good, and I'm going to pop that in center of my card. Beautiful. So that's it. So that's my card, my three-fold card, using the well-suited suite, which is your handsomely suited stamp set and the matching dies. Remember, if you buy them as a bundle, if you aren't buying the whole suite, because the suite includes the designer series paper, stamp set and the dies, and a double pack of double pack of twine. You can buy it as a suite, but if you only want to buy the stamp set and the dies together, you can get that as a bundle and get a 10% discount. So that's my card for today. I will post this on my blog in the next day or so and onto YouTube. So thank you for joining me today.